the reigning Czech Extra League champions, who ended the 5-year run of tree nets as the Czech League champions. And this is Filip Novak, one of the top draft prospects for the Czechs. Played offside, being called against Canada. And now waved off as the Canadians tag up. Adam Valentini, the Toronto native, plays it back in the corner, looking for Beckham Edwards. And there is J.C. Lemieux, hit from behind in Canada's opener against the Finns. Did not return to that game, did not play against the Swiss, but somewhat surprisingly is back tonight.
Martin was the captain of that team, and he was simply terrific in helping them win their gold medal at the Hlinka Gretzky on home ice.
Goaltender Politin wears the unmistakable colors of Liberec of the Czech Extra League, but that's not where he plays. He plays for Pelikans Lahti in the Finnish Junior League. Away comes Ryan Lynn. Vancouver Giants young star plays that in. And waiting for it is Simon Belahorski. Belahorski is something of a question mark for scouts because he's got 2 different birthdays listed. Belahorski works in. He falls hard in the corner now. Novak comes over for a word. The whistle had gone before he was spilled.
It's tough to hear. You're continuing on.
It was an offside.
Yeah, and Belahorski is thinking, I got a chance through. He's trying to make a play, and well, he stopped up a little. He looked like he might have just toe picked. Too good for the junior league, not good enough for the senior league. Got to find a place to go.
Some have gone to other leagues in Europe. David Pastrnak kind of led the way by going to Sweden. Verhoff brings that back around. Bertus. Opposite right to Belahorski. That's knocked down. Brought back by Eva Zhilkin. Zhilkin has scored in both games for the Canadians. And Rudolph, a lead pass to Zhilkin. Pivots inside the blue line and drops that back down to Belchez. Canada's in the middle of a change. And a puck brought back by Dominic Bertus. And across the line, he comes at once. Tomek tries to knock that down, and busting away was Diorio on the penalty kill. Canada's not allowed a power play goal yet in the tournament. Killed off a long 5-on-3 by the Swiss yesterday. That long shooting glove by Betts, and he'll pounce on that Ontario League. Doing the penalty kill along with Ty Lawrence. And Verhoff, who plays a key role in both the penalty kill and the power play for Canada, sends that the length of the ice. Shipped ahead by Tomek. Takes the return pass along the boards. Tomek flips that back down to Hook. Tomek plays it back in the point. Across it comes. That shot by Kalish. Blocked in front by Lemieux, and the return of J.C. Lemieux. Welcome, especially the penalty kill for Canada.
Caliber at this game here at the Hlinka Gretzky.
Bertus played back across. Kalish had it teed up but couldn't get the shot away. Now the pass is picked off in the middle of the ice by Lawrence, and away comes Ty Lawrence along with Russo. Sent back down, and a little one-handed action there from Politin. Nice and casual playing that away. Novak works in. Spins back in front of Dupont. Played back in the corner for Hook. Now Kalish back with it. Bertus drops that back, and the shot once again is blocked by Verhoff and sent down the ice. As Tomek, Marcus throws right and bats left. That's also quite rare. Novak with it. Tied up by Lawrence at center ice. And I'll move back to Kamas. Kamas rips that back down the ice and out of reach of the intended target. It's for a Kometa is a historic franchise here. Belahorski up for Hook, but it's center ice. That's picked off by Ryan Lynn. Lynn slips it right back down to the Czech zone.
And deservedly so, the way he thinks the game and gets himself into the right spots and competes.
Bertus plays that down. Betts leaves a long rebound there, and it's knocked away by Edwards. And Rudolph banks it back down the ice.
Ty Lawrence was the MVP of the USHL playoffs, helping Muskegon win the championship.
The Clark Cup. Tomek plays it. Cameron Chartrand sends it back down the ice, and here's Bertuz back to pick it up. Inside a minute to go in the Czech power play. Tomek stick snapped in half as he made that pass up the ice. He'll head off as Kalish sends that ahead. Finds Vanacek. He falls. Carl's trying to pull that free and does for the moment. Novak plays it across to Bertuz. Bertuz snaps that pass in front. It bounced away from Hook. Carl's has it off the sideboards and not out. Novak banks that back. Here's Kalish with it. Takes the return pass and has a look. A shot knocked away by Betts. And Chartrand sends it back down the ice. 10 seconds to go in the Czech power play. Preston jumps in across the line for Verhoff. Has a look, pulls it back around, can't get the shot away. Now Rudolph with it. And Rudolph a long shot that goes high. Out the other side for Preston. Preston thought about the Michigan there. Back on it. Minute to go here in the period. Slides that down to Valentini. Valentini backdoor pass for Verhoff. Gonna drop that back for Preston at the end of a long shift. Now Valentini had to hustle back to knock that away. Trefny works in a backhand shot stopped by Betts. And a penalty coming out of the Czechs for a high stick. With 38, get tied up at center ice with Edwards. Maxim Rudolph drops it back to Lemieux. Back for Rudolph in deep. Edwards works it free. Drops it back to DiOrio. That shot goes off a leg and banks back in the corner for Lemieux. He and Hook collide again. Now the lead pass goes to Filip Novak. Novak works it back in front. The pass was broken up and moved down the ice by Cameron Chartrand. Here's Novak back with it. Long shoot in was blocked by Rudolph.
I guess when you're so good at the younger ages, it's part of the learning and development process for the players to understand that.
Here's Verhoff out there in the penalty kill again. Moves out ahead for Edwards. Back for Verhoff busting in. That was knocked away from him by Vanacek. Now Edwards causing trouble for the Czechs in the forecheck, and Valentini as well. Edwards pokes that back end for Valentini. Verhoff was loose in front for a moment. 4-on-4 here. 7 minutes into the period. Valentini. Politin couldn't poke check that away. Valentini back on it. Brought back out by Novak. Verhoff slides it back around for Lynn. Richmond, BC native, plays for his hometown, Vancouver. Off the draw, Novak. Back to Kalish, who's out there now, the 15-year-old on defense. Plays that back for Kalmas with a shot. Betts the save, rebound, knocked that away as well. Still loose in front, backhand shot in the pipe. Oh, 3 great chances in tight there for the Czechs. Betts made 2 good stops in the third, hit the goalpost. 3:45 to go in the 5-minute power play. Maxa.
You look at where Novak is. He's going to come right down and be right on the backside of Edwards.
Kamanek. Back for Kalish. Now Edwards ties up Novak. Delorio poked at that. Kamas with a shot that was blocked. Here's Maxa back with it. Maxa being tied up by Verhoff. Tomek in the high slot for Kalish. Plays it across. Novak, a shot that was blocked by Rudolph. Another chance broken up by Delorio, and Delorio sends it back down the ice. 3 to go in the 5-minute major to Canada's Dima Jilkin.
Not easy getting fresh players out there with the long change either.
Hook works it back around. Novak trying to center it, gathers it back up, plays that back to Rumo. Rumo, he's shouted there by Liam Ruck. Now it's pounded back down the ice by Carls. On Rudolph. Maxa centers a quick shot. And Betts makes the stop on Tomanek. Tomanek feeds it back to Kalish. He fans on the pass. Poked up by Liam Ruck and sent back down the ice. Camas winds in around Diorio. Diorio trying to work that free on Camas. And away comes Ty Lawrence, 2-on-1, short-handed with Diorio. Lawrence winds it and shoots, and the stop is made by Politin. Novak back with it inside a minute to go in this long Czech power play. And once again, Ty Lawrence causing all kinds of problems for the Czechs. Politin move it away from Lawrence. And the rink-wide pass goes to Novak. Filip Novak plays it back down. Betts out to play it. Diorio banks it back around the long side. It gets by Rubel and back out. 25 seconds to go on the Czech power play. That's broken up at center ice by Lawrence again, who's been terrific on the kill here. And Ruck tried to poke that ahead. Rubel lost the puck to Ruck. And Liam Ruck pokes that back in the corner as Reisnecker picks that back up. Marcus Ruck worked that free for Preston. Mathis Preston winds in, has time, feeds that back. Here's Rudolph back with it. That long shot blocked in front by Rubel. Preston pivots back behind the goal. Lifts that back. Chartrand up at the Preston. Diorio with a shot. And Politin makes the save. Marcus Ruck. Back to Chartrand. Rudolph a drive that's punched away by Politin. Novak. And it's broken up by Ty Lawrence. Lawrence works it free, walks it and fires. He rattled that wide. No race for it. Novak. And Lawrence erased him. Ty Lawrence has had a great period for Canada.
Absolutely. So a little adjustment here as Diorio's up.
Long point shot taken by Cullies. Interesting comments by Craig Conroy in our second intermission interview talking about trying to evaluate 15 and 16-year-old players. In come 18-year-olds, he wouldn't have been selected. Diorio. And that broken up at center ice. Moved back in by David Hook. Jackson Rudolph. There's it back around Rudolph. Out there along with Verhoff. And Diorio slides it in for Ty Lawrence, busting in. Lawrence in a long backhand shot. And the stop is made by Politin to Boston College in 2027. That was a pretty tiny piece of defending right there.
It was the fourth line out for Czechia, so maybe the danger wasn't as high, but nonetheless a good play by Chartrand.
Jakub Vanacek turns it over to Valentini. Valentini plays it back for Lynn with a rocket shot that Politin got just a piece of. Carl shoots, dribbles back in front. Lemieux couldn't get a shot away. And Lynn plays it back in. J.C. Lemieux back for Valentini. Fires, that's off the arm of Politin. He lost track of it in the corner. And Valentini has it back. Valentini. He's taken down. Now Edwards a shot. That goes wide. A funny bounce in behind the goal. It seemed to break all the laws of geometry as it bounced back the other way. Tomek plays it back around. Now Tomek with the steal. Czechs are 0 for 5 on the power play with 7 shots. Rumo quarterbacks the power play. Back for Novak. To Rumo. Being shot there by Diorio. That pass misfired for Novak. And more ice time for Verhoff here on the penalty kill. Hit across by Maxa. Now Rumo, long shot. Knocked away by Betts. Novak works in. Centers it. Komanek with a shot. Saved by Betts. Rebound. Novak turned away as well. 2 good stops there by Gavin Betts.
That was a great save on the first one on Gavin Betts. He comes off the goal line, reads it, position, shuts down the net. Outstanding by Gavin Betts.
Tomek chips it back down to the Canadian zone. Bounces in behind the goal. Trefny reaching for it. And here is Cullies. Long point shot, tipped just wide. Verhoff on it, has time, banks it ahead. Canada's got a chance, 2-on-1, shorthanded. Edwards working in, feeds it back across. That bounced away from J.C. Lemieux. Now Lemieux back with it. Inside a minute to go in the Czech power play. Warm in here today, but not quite that warm. A new building coming here to Brno, opening next summer. Lishovsky had that taken away. Marcus Ruck trying to steal that back. Andre Rumo plays for Pardubice's under-20 team. Carl trying to work that free and does. Back at the point. Rumo, a shot, it deflected. That's a good stop there. Preston back down to the Czech zone. Rumo looks ahead for Novak. Tied up there by Marcus Ruck, and back down to the Canadian zone. Betts waiting for it. Belchez again. Overtime is no good for the Czechs unless they win it. The point to lose in overtime would do nothing for them. Lemieux, a win of any kind for Canada is enough to give them first. Back down to the Czech zone. 8:45 to go here in the third period. And the air at center ice. There's a shot and a good pad save there by Politin. Semifinals go Friday. Gold medal game on Saturday. And Marcus Ruck breaks out that pass at center ice and sends it back in. The Czechs have had very little sustained pressure in this game.
Yeah. And, you know, you talk about pulling the goalie, needing 2 goals.
Fires that back down, and Valentini goes in on the forecheck. Mathis Preston. Verhoff over 23 minutes already, and there's 5:19 to go here in the third. And now Edwards. Here he comes again, drops it back to Rudolph. A shot, scores! Juniors. Back-to-back bronzes after the silver in Halifax in 2023. Now Dupont with it. Landon Dupont looks ahead and finds Liam Ruck walking in. Shoots, scores! Liam Ruck's got his second.